Citadel apparently was a big deal during the Tet Offensive, and lots of bullet holes that you can still see in the brick. It's pretty old. I think he said this was done in the either late 1800s or early 1900s, before Vietnam got away from having a I think it was like a king, and then they moved over to having a standard government. But the empire built this way prior to Vietnam. I guess the Americans took this, or worked with the Vietnamese to use this as a safe place for an air base for I guess for the US and the friendlies to hang out and get stuff done. And then he would, I guess, park his helicopter, he'd come across this bridge and go over and stay in Way proper at the MacV compound, I think is what he said. This is kind of common. UH-1 helicopter used by US imperialism in the Vietnam War. And then Binh Due Front. This helicopter seized by the Liberation Army at Bien Hoa Airport in 1975 spring campaign. So funny being referred to as an imperialist. Just never occurred to me that that would be the propaganda. US Air Force. Type of troop carrier my dad was talking about that you don't want to be in when a round comes through the side. And he said like 50 cal rounds can punch through pretty small enclosed space. Boy, it must have been loud to have an engine like that in the metal. Scary. So this M48 tank was equipped by the US and used by the Republic of Vietnam Army for raiding and killing the people. Again, it goes back to interesting way of viewing the war, for sure. So this one looks like it's a recovery vehicle or something. It's got a crane on it, big shovel on the front. So this is inside the Citadel. There's like a moat inside a moat, and so we had to actually pay to come into here, but it's pretty.
Robert and Chip. Chip is a son from Robert. Chip, he is a pilot during on the war 1965. After 54 years later, he come back take a tour with me. Today, number 8 April, I bring him inside a Citadel, and a Citadel and set up by kingdom on the Nguyen dynasty. Why on the Nguyen? Because the Nguyen dynasty set up kingdom on the Nguyen in Hue City, start from 1802 until the 1945. Wow. The people in South Vietnam living under feudalism 143 years, led by the 13 king. Kingdom on the Nguyen, generation to generation. When the king father died, the first boy from family became the king, and kingdom on the Nguyen much more influenced by the China and there, and kingdom on the Nguyen and there is open for the Citadel, surrounded in here 10 kilometers square. It start construction from 1804 for the first king. The first king is Yalong. He start from 1802 and until the 1804. He decide open for Citadel, on the war for Citadel. And he died on the 1823. And when the first son keep going, still construction, it opened everything on the 1833.
Okay.
And he opened complex together, big world 10 km square. And he opened 150 building, make complex together. And the main building for the working room, it called right now, we call the throne, golden throne. A throne for the king, take a seat in there for working.
Ah, yeah.
And then in the middle, for the citadel, they open for the purple city. Purple meaning for concubine area, concubine area. And each king on the Nguyen dynasty, they are get more than 100 concubines. It's a concubine that almost come from countryside further south. Every year for the birthday or the new year, almost people, almost state, bring priestly girl, bring offering for the king. Some girl become the concubine. When become the concubine, stay for forever with family for the king.
Wow. Okay.
Except like when the king died, almost a young concubine, 18, 20 years, not allowed going home, not allowed get another marriage, stay for forever with family for the king. On that time when the king died, and the picture and altar for the king, put inside the old family altar inside the citadel, and body put on coffin, bring outside. This is about 10 kilometers. Why season outside 10 kilometers? Before the king died, when king is still alive, they must open for vacation home, winter home, summer home, and they make the hole, stand by the hole already. And when he died, body put in coffin, bring coffin from here to bury on summer home, winter home.
Okay.
On summer home, winter home on that day. No more winter home, no more summer home. It changed the name for royal tomb. Royal tomb for the king staying for forever. And when he's in there, almost concubine not allowed to stay longer in here. Must move from here, stay in there until they die. Not allowed to go home.
Wow.
Yes.
Could the family visit them?
Yes, and the family visit and them.
Okay.
And the king on the Nguyen, the first king in Gia Long, start from 1802, and the last king in Bao Dai. Bao Dai is the end the king on the Nguyen on the 30 August 1945. And then from 2nd September 1945, and our President Ho Chi Minh, he stand in Hanoi, he declare in Vietnam no more king, no more kingdom. And the leader by President Ho Chi Minh, our president, Vietnam freedom from that year up to now. And during on the Nguyen dynasty, and on 1945 no more king, but on the 1946, from 1945 until 1946, Ho Chi Minh become our president. And on 1946, and Japanese, they come to Vietnam, and China come to Vietnam for make fighting with Vietnam. So I don't know Vietnam. It's a country, small country, poor country, but still come to Vietnam, make trouble with Vietnam. But our Ho Chi Minh president, he would talk, and he talked with the Japanese and China, and they kick back, them come back on Japanese and China.
Good.
And so says on the 1947, and France come back in Vietnam for second time on from 1947 until the 1954.
Yep.
The last battle with Vietnam with France on the 7th May 1954, and Dien Bien Phu battlefield. Dien Bien Phu near and Laos and China border and North Vietnam. When Vietnam, France left Vietnam on the 1945, and then Vietnam making two countries, North and the South, on the 17th parallel, and the North Vietnam leader by Ho Chi Minh, socialist country. In South Vietnam, from 17 parallel up the south, set up new capital in Saigon. On that time, South Urban government. The name is the Diem, Ngô Đình Diem. He president South Vietnam, he Arvin.
Right.
And he set up new capital in Saigon and there. And on that time, in Vietnam and United Nations and France come to the Geneva Conference.
Geneva, right?
Yeah.
Geneva Conference in Switzerland. And they led for Ho Chi Minh government 2 years later, collection and through one good government. But until the 1956, nothing happened. North is north, south is south. And on that time, American sent assistance for Vietnam, help Ngô Đình Diem,
Right.
send for troop and send for the money, send for equipment for the war.
This is back in General Eisenhower days.
Okay.
This is even before I graduated from high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And example, I know from the 1963, during in the Kennedy come from U.S.
Right.
president, he get killed by the soldier, and Diem, he after the monk projected we and there Thích Quảng Đức, he come from this temple, he came to Saigon, he burned by himself and there. He again for South Vietnam government, no trouble with the Buddhists. And he know American nearly make plans, send a troop come to Vietnam, Saigon, but want to stop. But they can't. But on 1963, Diem, our president, South Vietnam, they get killed by soldier and there. After Kennedy for 2 months later. And on that time, an American sent troops to Vietnam. And the first for the, you come to the armies, they come to earlier. Then army left in Vietnam, and then 1965, 3,000 American Marines, they start from Okinawa, they land in my city in Da Nang. And there,
Right.
and then, and this inside the Citadel on January 1968. And NVA come from the division 320 and 324, 325 and Yellow Star division for NVA. They come from Quang Tri, come to here.
Right.
And some come from Alloy, Aso Valley, Hamburger Hill, come to
Right.
here.
Yep.
And Marine men, they come from Phu Bai Air Bay, came in there.
Okay.
And on the ocean side, for Navy came here.
Right.
And for fighting at 24 days. And
Yeah.
almost and Citadel destroyed the first time by on the 1947 by French war with Vietnam, Viet Minh, and second one on 1968. And when the war ended on 1975, in North, in the South, in the one country, no more DMZ, not
Right.
in South country. And right now in Vietnam, so freedom. From North and South, it's 63 city and province. And it's one government, led by the Communist Party for Vietnam, socialist country. And when the war ended on 1975, and in Vietnam, and send a report for UNESCO until the 1993, and UNESCO recognized in Hue, Citadel and almost a royal tomb in Hue become the heritage culture, and they are come to Vietnam to have Vietnam to rebuild a little bit, and then and Vietnam open for tourists on the 1995, because 1995 for first man U.S. Embassy, he named for Peterson. Peterson, he is the pilot man during on the war. On the 1968, he fly for B-52, come to outside Hanoi, North Vietnam. He gets some enemy shooting by the missile, nuclear weapon missile.
Yeah.
He get out from the B-52, and NVA bring him to the Hilton Hotel.
Right.
Hilton Hotel in Hanoi. And he and John McCain in the same hotel. The hotel is called the Hilton Hotel in Hanoi. Hilton Hotel,
Hanoi Hilton.
Hanoi Hilton, and there. Hanoi Hilton set up on the 1910 by the French, due for the political prison. And right now, and halfway prison, and so 5-star hotel, Hanoi Hilton Hotel, 5-star hotel, and halfway still museum, and there. And very famous for almost tourists. And right now, more tourists after they come to Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City and Da Nang, they must come to here for sightseeing. And right now, they come to learn history about the Nguyen big family in Vietnam. You see, 143 years and there. And during on the war, 70 buildings in here were destroyed. Only get 30% for the building here still real one. And right now, 70% they destroyed, they rebuild already. Still with 30% they rebuild. Near future will done everything in here. And right now keep the culture for tourists, for Vietnamese children for forever. And right now I bring father and son come together step by step, and anything if you want, please ask to me. I plan for more information. So thank you for paying attention for me. Couple more minutes.
Oh,
No
Okay,
worries.
thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Good.
The king, the big villa there, but villa down.
This is the old air control tower, airfield. We're still inside the Citadel. This is where the helicopters would land. So this is where, I guess there was an airfield here. None of these trees are here. He said some of the buildings are gone, but you could easily bring in a helicopter and land, or he said even a small fixed wing. But now it's they put in a pavilion kind of commemorating some of their soldiers. And Tang was telling us that this air traffic control tower here was built not for the Vietnam War, but for, I guess the French did it in the 50s. So I guess the French probably put in this airfield, and then the US just used it while they were here as a safe place to hang out inside the Citadel.